And with that, we begin our excursion for today. So today, we're running a very, very special excursion with the American Strong Spirit of New York. My private locomotive has been dolled up in a beautiful red, white, and blue. And we've got a train here of beautiful red, white, and blue cars. With the exception of the platypus car. We are going to have a short, simple excursion, just running from Silva Interchange up to Bryson and return. A very, very simple excursion today. Hey Spinner Tornado, welcome to the stream. Glad to have you here. Pretty much, yeah. It's the only one I could have that has the red, white, and blue. It does have a front coupler, yeah. It has a front coupler. It's actually not bad for the mod. It's a very, very good mod for what it is. I did a review on it very recently. It's very good. Oh my god, man. Damn. Well, I didn't know any other real way to commemorate the day. And when I got this locomotive into the railroad, it spawned with 2001, and I thought to myself, there's no other way. So I figured, what other way than to do this? Well, you're trying, I'm doing my best. And I think the red, white, and blue scheme on my private engine is a little odd, but it gets the point across. I didn't have time to repaint the tail card, though. I kind of just took the only observation car I had free and just stuck it to the end. So we have a Perry the Platypus tail car. Yeah, I was not alive for the events of today, 24 years ago, but I remember studying it. And in Minecraft, I actually built a memorial to 9/11. That I was originally going to do just a stream of that, but I thought that this was a better way. I also have a New York Central whistle on this locomotive right now because I thought it was apt. I also just restored my locomotive. Apparently, according to my grandpa, the restaurant at the top floor of the Marriott was glass, and the hotel was on the opposite side of where the first plane hit the North Tower. Apparently, he looked up and saw the explosion, then debris came raining down, crashing through the glass. My God. That's terrible. The entire thing was terrible, but that's terrible because that's a personal connection to you. Tragically, some of the debris raining through was people. Oh, man. Yeah, this is not usually my wholesome stream, but I couldn't think of anything else to do today. I've been wrapping my head around it all day long, trying to figure out what to do. I just realized the game audio wasn't recording. it was a terrible thing. It was an immense tragedy. And tonight, New York will be having the celebration of lights, I believe. Well, it's fairly appropriate. My grandfather ran down 5 floors to the first floor of the hotel. Then the second plane came into the other tower. He ran back. He ran to the hotel, to the back of the hotel, running between the 2 towers and across the plaza at the very bottom. He was long gone by the time the towers had collapsed an hour later. Wow. I didn't even think about the fact that I'm running 2 engines and there were 2 towers. I didn't even think of that until just now. It's weird symbolism that I accidentally did. But man, I was many years ago as a kid. I I visited Ground Zero in New York, and go from the bustling and very loud city of New York to just the dead, still air of Ground Zero was. There's no words for it. I've got an engine stationed here as a spare. But being there and hearing, just seeing everything, it was surreal, because I wasn't alive then. I was born in '02, so I was born a year after the incident. And I grew up learning about it because it was just such a major thing. Normally when I'm done with runs like this, I'll remove the locomotive that I'm using for the excursion because it's unnecessary for the railroad. This one's going to stay around for the duration of September. For the rest of September, this locomotive will remain on the railroad. And whenever we do streams, we'll have it take the place of the 100 that you saw stationed back there, and it'll be on display for a while. But it was a horrible, terrible thing that happened. The attack hit my family close while my grandpa was got out unscathed. Things that he saw probably affected will never escape. Yeah. Yeah, I believe that. I mean, how could it? There's a reason I'm not playing any music for this stream, but I feel like it goes without explaining. Lately, I've been working on a film project to triangulate his location in real time during his escape, as he actually appeared in the background of a few videos of the collapse. Gave me a good idea of where he was between the first hit and the fleeing the scene. I hope you get that project done, man. That's a very, very good project. We're gonna be making a whistle stop in Whittier. I also have to go pick up my car from the shop, so it might be a while before we finish the second half of the stream and the excursion, or we might just run one way. I don't quite know yet. And just to show proof, there's the name of the locomotive. He left some things in the Marriott hotel room that my family hoped that 9/11 Memorial Museum would recover. But the first collapse landed right on the hotel, splitting it in half. And the second collapse fully buried the hotel. Oh, man. Oh, I'm so sorry you lost those pieces. That's terrible. That's actually terrible. I remember hearing the story of what my dad said when he was alive during the event. He was at work, and everyone at work stopped, and he said that they all piled into the break room and started to watch the TV as everything unfolded. And I don't know how it happened, but my dad made a prediction that there would be another plane that would hit the towers. He thought that that might happen, and sure enough, it did. They were everyday things my family and my grandpa hoped to get back as a bit of a survival trophy, but we presumed all of those items to be turned to dust. Oh man. I'm that's it sucks that they were lost. Normally, I would be trying to finish up all the work on the railroad, because there's work here that needs to be done, there's work here that needs to be done, there's work here that needs to be done, and there's a lot of work that needs to be done here. But this comes first. The line has been entirely cleared. I've removed every timetabled train except one, and it's not going to be getting in our way. We knew it was unlikely for them to return, though, because I don't think any hotel is meant to survive two of the tallest buildings in the world falling on it. No, I don't think so either. I don't think anything was designed for that. we've got a timetable train set for departure at 1800, so we can't stay here long, but I thought I'd show off the train a little bit with this locomotive, the 2001. I put America Strong on the front of the locomotive because I figured that was appropriate. And then obviously on the tender, Never Forget. Though we knew where his stuff might be if it did survive, as most of the debris from the attack was transferred to the landfill across the bay to be sifted through for the remains, all of the debris had been burned under the landfill and turned into a park. Though it is guaranteed that there is still remains in the buried debris. My God. So here's the 8441, the flagship of my channel and everything, dolled up in a red, white, and blue, which is interesting because I actually wrote a story of it being dolled up in red, white, and blue. And this is kind of how I envisioned it to be dolled up, if it was to be. It's not the right Mikado, because it was a light USRA, but it still counts. And all of the lining has been changed to blue. And then, of course, we have the streamlined passenger car mod with coach cars, 2 observation cars, and the latest mod drop of the beaver tail, which was called the platypus tail in the mod pack, which is still labeled for the passenger train that I was going to build. That's a big tender for it. Yeah, I purposely gave the Mikado the Pacific's tender because I have every intent of using this 282 as the only 282 on the railroad, so it needed a lot of fuel and water for it to operate. But the other thing, the reason it has this big tender is that this particular version of 8441 was bought off of the used market and rebuilt. So this was the only Mikado on the used market that had any sort of chance of being rebuilt. So I bought this one because it was the only one there. If I had the opportunity, I would have bought the original tender for it instead of this one, or maybe something just a little smaller than this tender. But right now it'll have to do until I can either find another 282 or I just go in and edit it out myself. All right, we've got 4 hours till the next train. Our lines are still clear. When the excursion is over, 8441 will get repainted back into its black paint scheme, but 2001 will stay in its red, white, and blue in this particular paint scheme. Something I also want to document and cover is the Northwest Corridor operation on that fateful day. There's a video out there. I've seen it numerous times. It's of the FAA going in, and you watch the airspace just clear. You watch every single plane get grounded. Every single plane just stops flying in the airs over the U.S. There's also video out there that has audio from the flight that didn't crash into anything, that the passengers captured and took over. There's audio from people making phone calls out of the towers. There's also terrible, terrible jokes made by it. I know that there's the Buzz Lightyear and Woody video of them crashing into the towers, and I don't. Normally, I would look at that and think, oh, that's a clever edit. But I look at that today and I think that that is so distasteful for what they did. The thing that I find really interesting is if you go to New York now and you go to the subway that's just in front of the World Trade Centers, the One World Trade or the Freedom Tower, you can actually see go all the way through the roof of the station, because there's a glass window that allows you to look right up at the tower. I never got the chance to go to that tower, but I did get the chance to see it. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to go pick up my car from the shop before they close. So this is just going to be a quick 45-minute-ish stream. But what I'm going to probably do... Yeah, NJ Transit and Amtrak did not actually close operation, and instead put together some very long passenger trains going to New York Station and evacuate people, since all the bridges were closed. That's right, the bridges were closed. And Amtrak pitched in to help. That's really good on Amtrak. I don't know what it's been about today. Probably the event that took place 24 years ago. But the air has felt different today. The Northeast Corridor commuter lines and Amtrak have emergency protocols for mass evacuations like that, and it was the first time those had to be implemented. Also, traffic got a bit stuffed up as no evacuation trains headed south, as Washington, D.C. was obviously having another major problem. Yeah, that's true. That's very true. Because the Pentagon got hit. My uncle had an office in the Pentagon. But unfortunately, he's passed away, so I have no idea if I can ask him if he was there during the event. I think more than anything else, this little stream, it's the thought that counts. You know? It's the idea of what I'm doing. There was actually a little known incident during the event as well. As while the towers collapsed, it cut the power to the wires and tunnels, causing a few of the evacuation trains to get stuck. A few Amtrak P40s were available, and the New York Transit diesels responded to pull them out. That is, wow, I didn't know that. I think I missed a road crossing. I probably did. It's okay. I'm thinking about putting 2001 right here. setting it up against this little spot. And whenever it's needed for service, I'm gonna pull it out. Here's the other Atlantic that I have, hauling the midnight train, which was the one we were trying to beat. Just snapping a thumbnail for the VOD. Now, at the beginning of the stream, I did play the song God Bless America. And I was thinking that at the end of the stream, or at the end of the excursion, that I would play the Star Spangled Banner, the full Star Spangled Banner. But I don't know how appropriate that would be. But today was an event where some people woke up, some people clocked into work, or were already at work, or at home. And they couldn't have known. They could not have known. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to temporarily leave the stream here because I need to go do a few things around the house before I end stream. But I'm going to leave this up for a little bit. And I will return very shortly. Consider this a moment of silence for those who we've lost. Alrighty, everyone. Well, I would love to stick around and continue this, but what I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to take 2001 and I'm going to send it to its perch. It'll go over here to be displayed. I'm then going to put the 844 away, or 8441 away. And then I'll show you what I did in Minecraft. And later I will come in and repaint 844 back to its original colors. I'm going to send my little switcher to collect my private car. The rest of these I will set on this track here for a while. Actually, before we go. I might not actually get rid of the 2001. I might just keep it forever. Use it when it's needed, if that makes sense. As a heritage piece. In fact, on this railroad, I have a class just for that. It shall be labeled under the heritage group. Hey, there it shall stay for now. Alright, well that's taking care of its business. Let me show you what I did in Minecraft. And see what you guys think of it. I gotta pull it up here. A lot of mods went into making what I'm gonna show off here. I can't actually see who's all in chat right now.
how to do all this. I could never figure anything out. Never.
So this is what I've made in Minecraft. It's a representation of the 9/11 memorial.
Oh, okay. Did you do that like on your own or?
Yep, I built this.
Oh.
I have, along the sides here, I have red, white, and blue lanterns
Yeah,
with
I saw
candles.
that. I didn't see the candles. No, I see the candles. I saw the red,
And then
white, and blue.
inside, it's a replica of the fountains that are at the 9/11 monument.
And you made that yourself?
Mm-hmm. It's the second part to what I've done today.
Uh-oh, I'll be right back. Well, in a minute. Somebody's...
I'm going to leave this running while I go get some work done as a memorial. I'll leave it in peace. to say thank you guys for coming to this short stream for today. Thank you for allowing me to make content. Thank you for just being part of the team. And there is no way I will ever forget any of you, nor will I forget what this day means. And it is very important to you all to know that I care. And I will never forget. No outro music this time, but we are gonna raid someone.